if they don't play a Dedenne-GX, you can actually win the game by knocking out all their Mad Party cards. So you don't need to collect all 6 prize cards. All you need to do is knock out all 3 of the all of their Bunnelbys or Sinisties or Poltergeist with your Blow-Away Bomb, with enough Roxies and enough Zigzagoons. But they already put their Dedenne-GX in play, so we can't do that anymore. We have to collect all 6 prize cards for the win. So knocked out a Sinisty on the first turn, very good. Because I plan on knocking out the Dedenne-GX, so I'm gonna use Boss Order instead of Roxie. If I use Roxie though, I could knock out the Sinisty and then use Crazy Claw, but I can't use Crazy Claw, so I can only attack with Zigzagoon, and you need to flip a coin for Zigzagoon, so it's actually not a good deal. It's even worse to rely on your coin flip than to rely on a Sableye V turning up on your hand. So for this turn, all I need is a Weavile and a Sableye V. So Weavile allows me to transfer my energy cards. Sableye V allows me to attack with Crazy Claw for the win, because we already have a Boss Order at hand and a Dedenne as well. So few that was close, because that was our last Sableye V. $250. So that's why this deck is subpar if you're up against the meta format, because it needs way too many things. You need your damage counter cards, you need a way to charge your Sableye with 2 energies fast before they crushing hammer you. You also need your tool scrappers and chaotic swells, because if they play power plant, you can't play Dedenne-GX. If you are playing a Weavile-GX, you need chaotic swell, because now they have played a power plant. Now I can't use my Shadow Connection, but there's no point using Shadow Connection anyways, because I can't do anything with my Crazy Claw. Crazy Claw is completely shut down unless I damage them with my Claw Slash first. So Shadow Connection actually helps later on in the game after my Claw Slash, but I can't even retreat now because Sableye V 2 retreat cost. Hello everybody, welcome back to Bearware the Terrible. Today we have a new deck in the standard format for you called the Weaving Destruction. So in Weaving Destruction, we have our Sableye V from Sword and Shield and also a Weavile-GX from Unified Mind. So this card has the Shadow Connection ability, allowing you to move 1 basic energy card from your Pokemon to another of your Pokemon in any way you like, as often as you like. So this is a powerful ability. We are planning on using this card with our red and blue to fast evolve it, and also to be able to attach 2 extra energies to our Weavile-GX immediately after playing this card. You have to discard 2 other cards from your hand for that extra effect, but it is a good deal because that extra energy we get to transfer with Shadow Connection to our Sableye V, allowing us to do Crazy Claw immediately on our second turn after evolving our Weavile. So immediately after evolving this card, we get to transfer the energy cards to our Sableye and then immediately switch or retreat to Sableye and attack with Crazy Claw. So that's how powerful Shadow Connection is. Weavile-GX is a very powerful card. It is quite old, but it is still allowed in the standard format because it is Unified Minds. So to place damage counters on our opponent's active Pokemon, we have our standard Roxie Blow-Away Bomb cards, we have our Galarian Zigzagoon and Scoop Up Net cards. So those are the cards that we are using to place damage counters on them to be able to boost our damage to our Crazy Claw damage. So that's how we are playing this deck. So Sableye V has a lot of cost. The first cost is 2 dark energy attack cost. The second cost is you have to place damage counters on them before you attack. So if you place special conditions on them, that's a bad deal because you're gonna have to wait. You're gonna have to waste turns for that. You're gonna have to wait for the between turns to be able to place damage counters on them. So it's better to place damage counters with abilities, but if you're doing that, watch out for Metal Goggles, watch out for those cards. Stealthy Hood, Galarian Weezing, all of those will shut down your shut down your abilities. So you have to watch out for those cards. You have to have a tool scrapper. So I wasn't prepared for those cards. That's why before I went for the tournament, I played this deck for the tournament. It is not that good of a deck because I don't have tool scrapper. That is the main card that you need to have if you are playing a Sableye V deck, because Sableye V relies on your abilities to place damage counters on them. So you have to prepare for Metal Goggles, you have to prepare for Power Plant as well. So Power Plant destroys your Shadow Connection, it shuts down your DD change. So we have to prepare for those cards. You have to have a Stadium card and a Tool Scrapper for this deck to be perfect, for this deck to work well. So that is why upon afterthought, after playing that tournament, I'm gonna show you the tournament later. So the gameplay for today, I'm gonna show you a recording and then I'm gonna walk you through the games. I'm gonna narrate through the games. So we went for 2 rounds in the tournament. I'm gonna be showing you both those rounds and then I'm not gonna be giving up the results yet. So it's best of 3, so it's a lot of games. So let's go ahead for the deck list real fast. So let's speed through this. We have 2 boss orders in this deck because we need to target those VMAX high HP Pokemons on their bench before they charge it up to attack. So VMAX, this card is very good against VMAX tag teams because it does a lot of damage. Crazy Claw does 60 extra damage for each damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon. It does a lot of damage. All you need to do is Roxie Blow Away Bomb and Galarian Zigzagoon fast enough. Within your first or second turn, you can already do up to 130 or even 200 plus damage already. So that's how good your Sableye V is, but obviously you need to wait for your second turn to be able to attack because it is 2 energy attack costs. You need to evolve on your second turn. You can only evolve on your second turn with your red and blue. You can't evolve on your first turn or the same turn, or on the same turn you play your Sneasel. So Sneasel has to be put, you have to put this card in play on your first turn, otherwise you can't evolve on your second turn and you can't attack on your second turn. So golden rule, you have to place your Sneasel onto your bench as fast as you can first turn already. So we also have Bird Keepers in this deck because we need to switch. We don't have switches in this deck, only Scoop Up Net. If we have a Galarian Zigzagoon in play in our active spot, we get to scoop it up and switch for Sableye V or our Weavile-GX. Sometimes we may need to attack with Weavile because Claw Slash is a good attack, 130 damage. All you need to do is add an extra energy after red and blue to do Claw Slash for 130. If it doesn't get knocked out, on the next turn you get to retreat and then use Sableye V, transfer those energy to your Sableye V, and then use Claw Slash again, recycle those energy cards. But obviously it's better to, you know, use your Shadow Connection and then use your Sableye V to attack because that is the main card we are using to attack. So it's better to attack with Crazy Claws for this deck unless you have to use your Claw Slash. So we also have Rocky Helmets in this deck. We have 3 Rocky Helmets. The main way we are placing damage counters on them is obviously our Blow Away Bomb cards, our Roxie, and also our Galarian Zigzagoon Scoop Up Net. So that is not actually a very good deal because they could play Metal Goggles. So that's why we have Rocky Helmets in this deck. If they play Metal Goggles, we get to damage counter them with Rocky Helmet. But it is better to have Tool Scrapper instead of Rocky Helmet because you have to wait for them to damage you before you get to place damage counters on them with your Rocky Helmet. That is not a good deal. It's better to have Tool Scrapper and then you get to lift their effect. You get to lift their protection barrier and then you get to place damage counters again with your Roxie, with your Galarian Zigzagoon. That is better. And then it's better to have Stadium cards as well. So your Tool Scrapper Stadium cards is a must if you are playing a Sableye V deck. The reason we don't have this deck is because we didn't have the foresight. As I said, this is a pre-recorded deck. It's a pre-recorded deck list. So upon afterthought, I would suggest for you to switch these Rocky Helmets for Tool Scrappers and Stadium cards because you need Stadium cards to be able to kick off a Power Plant. Otherwise, if they have a Power Plant in play, you're completely destroyed. This deck is completely screwed because Power Plant shuts down your Shadow Connection ability. It shuts down your DD change. You need your Shadow Connection to be able to charge up your Sableye. That is the main way we are charging it up with 2 energies to attack right off the bat. So otherwise, you cannot attack. So that's how important Stadium cards is. You need Black Market or Marshadow or any cards to kick out that Power Plant. So Stadium cards and Tool Scrappers must. And then we also have our setup cards because we need to set up our Sneasel as well. So we have 4 Pokemon Communication. The reason for that is because we need our Weavile-GX in our deck because red and blue doesn't work if you have your Weavile in your hand or in your prize card. We only have 2 Weavile-GX in this deck because we can't find the space for it. So it's better to have 3 Weavile-GXs in your deck, but we only have 2. So we have Pokemon Communication to put it back into our deck if it turns up in our hand. So that's how powerful your Pokemon Communication is. That is why we need 4 of it. So Pokemon Communication puts your Weavile-GX back into your deck so that you get to summon it back with your red and blue, evolve, and then that way you get to attach 2 extra energies. If you don't have a Weavile-GX in your deck, you don't get to evolve, you don't get to attach 2 energies. So also you don't get to use his ability. So that's how important this Pokemon Communication is. And we also have an Evolution Incense in this deck, just in case we get our Weavile-GX and we don't have a red and blue in hand. We only have 2 red and blues in this deck, even though this is a crucial card for this deck because we are evolving and attaching energy with our red and blue. So it's actually better to have 3 or 4 red and blue in your deck. But actually, before I go for the tournament, I thought it would be a good idea to have more Roxies instead of red and blue. It's actually a personal preference. I prefer right now to have more red and blue because red and blue allows you to attach energy fast, because you can't attach energy one at a time, otherwise you're gonna have to prepare for crushing hammers. If they play crushing hammer or Dragapult or anything that discards your energy, Team Yell, anything like that, then that would be very bad because we don't have any cards to protect ourselves from crushing hammer. We are not playing Exeus in this deck. So Weavile is the only way we can charge up 2 energies per turn in a single turn. So that is a very fast way to be able to do that is the only way you can attack with your Crazy Claw in 1 turn by charging it up with 2 energies. So that's how important this card is as well. But the reason I only have 2 before I go for my tournament is because I find it more pressing to have Roxies, because Roxy allow you to place damage counters on them fast. That is how you're gonna do your damage with your Crazy Claw. So it's actually better, it may actually be better to have more Roxy than your red and blue. Or maybe you might even switch other cards for your red and blue. Maybe have less Sneasel, maybe 2 Sneasel is enough. We have 3 Sneasels and 2 Weaviles in this deck. You know, it's very tight, this deck is very tight. So we also have Oaks setup and Sonia. So it's actually better to have Sonia because we only have 2 types. We are only playing 2 type Pokemons. We are only putting 2 types into play. So we have our Sneasel water types and we have our Sableye V dark type. So only 2 types is not very, you know, practical to be using your Oak setup. Oak setup allows you to place 3 basic Pokemon from your deck onto your bench of different types. So you need 3 different basic Pokemon types to be able to put 3 onto play onto your bench. So that's how powerful Oak setup is, but it's very conditional. So since we're playing only 2 types, it's better to have Sonia because Sonia puts it into your hand. You get to summon a Dedenne or a Galarian Zigzagoon or blow away bomb cards for your next turn with your Sonia. So Sonia is actually more powerful because you get to prepare for your blow away bomb, you get to prepare for your damage counter placements, you get to prepare for your DD change. So Roxy is more powerful, Sonia is better than Oak setup for this deck. So not always, because Oak setup is actually sometimes stronger in other decks because you get to put 3 into play. Except you need to prepare 3 different types. So if you have other types, use it, because Sneasel is water type. That's why we have a different type in this deck. So we also have our basic supporter cards. We have our Marnie, Professor's Research, Bruno, Bird Keeper. We only have 1 of those cards because we need 4 Roxies and 2 red and blue. So we are already very tight in terms of supporter cards space. We also have 2 boss order in this deck and 1 gear. Gear allows us to get out our red and blue or our Roxy. So gear is very powerful as well. We have 2 Dedenne-GXs in this deck. We can't have too many Dedenne because we need the space for our Galarian Zigzagoon. We need the space for Weavile-GX and Sableye V. So we need to prepare for a Weavile-GX. That means we need 2 Sneasels on the bench already. 2 extra spots for Galarian Zigzagoon to place extra damage counter on their active Pokemon or on their other Pokemon, because Roxy Blow Away Bomb is not gonna do enough. And then 1 extra space for Sableye V. That means we have 1 spot left for Dedenne-GX. So only 2 Dedenne-GX is a good is a good number because Dedenne-GX, we're not going to be able to play that many per game for this Sableye V deck, for this one, because we are playing a Weavile deck. And we need to have this Weavile Shadow Connection ability if we want to attack fast, if we are trying to get around their Crushing Hammer cards. So Crushing Hammer is not going to work against our deck because our deck is going to be able to charge within a single turn 2 energies, and we can attack on our turn. So we charge on our turn, we attack on our turn. They can't Crushing Hammer before we attack, and they can't attack. The powerful thing about Shadow Connection is they can't knock us out before we attack. So sometimes if you attach your energy to your Sableye V one at a time, they can Crushing Hammer, and they can also boss or knock it out before you do your Crazy Claw. If you have a Shadow Connection, you can attach to your Sneasel. You can attach to any other Pokemon. You can attach to your Dedenne even. You can attach a Dark Energy to your Dedenne-GX, and then on the next turn you can evolve your Weavile. Attach 2 extra energies with your red and blue. If you don't have a red and blue, it's fine. You can even attach, you can even evolve with your Evolution Incense, and then attach an extra energy with from your hand to your Sableye V, and then transfer that energy from your last turn to your Sableye V, and then switch with Scoop Up Net. If you have a Zigzagoon in play, if you're lucky, you may have a Zigzagoon in play in the active spot. Then scoop it up and then put your Sableye V in the active spot and attack right off the bat. So if you don't have your Zigzagoon in your active spot, then I'm sorry, you have to wait your next turn to use a Bird Keeper or retreat with another energy, because we only have 2 energies unless you evolve with your red and blue. So it's actually better to have 3 red and blues to switch this Evolution Incense for a red and blue, because you don't get to do much with an Evolution Incense. So upon afterthought, because I actually built this deck before the tournament, so after the tournament I recommend switching this Evolution Incense for a red and blue card, because red and blue is more powerful. You get to attach 2 energies to your Weavile, and then you get to transfer those immediately on the same turn to your Sableye V, retreat with that extra energy from your hand, attached to your Zigzagoon or to your Weavile, because Weavile is only 1 energy retreat cost. Unless they have a Galarian, it's very easy to retreat. We don't have switch cards, we don't have escape ropes in this deck. It's better to have those cards, but we can't find the space anymore. This deck is very tight, very tight. As I said, we need too many cards. We need Roxie blow away bomb cards, we need our Scoop Up Net, we need Zigzagoon, we need Sableye V, we need Dedenne-GX, we need Evolution, we need red and blue. We need way too many cards, like way too many. We need our energy cards, we need a lot of energies, because we are playing 2 energy attack costs here. So that is all for the deck list. Let's go for gameplay. I actually went to the tournament, Limitless TCG tournament. If you guys want to check that out, go to limitlesstcg.com and join those tournaments. They have a lot of tournaments every day. It's a lot of rounds though. They go for the format is Swiss rounds. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that. I wasn't, so I actually had to do some research on that. And so we are playing our Weaving Destruction against a Mad Party deck. So you get to check out their deck list as well. So when you're paired up against an opponent in the Limitless TCG tournament, you get to check out their deck list. They get to check out your deck list before the game starts. But obviously you don't have much time before the game starts. You need to check in, and then you need to send a friend request and then challenge them, or accept the friend request and accept the challenge. So we are starting with I don't think we had basic. No, we had to draw another mulligan. We're starting with a Sableye. So Bumblebee, Mad Party, Level Ball. So new Mad Party decks, they have the Ball Guy. So Ball Guy lets you draw 3 ball cards into your hand of different names, and that allows them to draw out their Mad Party cards faster, and they get to discard faster, do a lot of damage faster. So we are already damaging them with our Zigzagoon, trying to knock out on the first hit a Sneasel because it's only 30 HP. So we are gonna get a blow away bomb card with our Pokemon now. And then scoop up the Zigzagoon later for a Sneasel knockout. There we go, scoop it up. Headbutt Tantrum. And then Roxie. And we even got a Rocky Helmet. So really good start. Got a Bird Keeper. Good thing about Mad Party decks, if you're up against them, if you're playing Mad Party decks, then I'm sorry, but I don't really like that deck. So good thing if you're paired up against a Mad Party deck is that they don't play a lot of Crushing Hammers, they don't play a lot of Sabotage cards. The only Sabotage card they have is Boss Order. They don't even have Marnies because they need Professor's Research. They need supporter cards to discard their deck. They need like Giovanni's Exile, Professor's Research, Hapu, or Clay to be able to, and Ball Guy, to be able to do a lot, to be able to boost their attack's damage fast enough to knock out a tag team, to knock out ADP, Zacian, and cards like that. VMAX even. VMAX they can't knock out with one hit. They have to knock out VMAX with 2 hits. It's impossible with a Mad Party deck for a one-hit knockout. So we knocked out the active Bunnelby, and then all we need to do is Crazy Claw for the win. So we can Sonia for energy cards. I think that's what we're gonna do. We are scooping up actually. Scoop up the Zigzagoon and get another Zigzagoon because we have 3 Zigzagoons in the deck, but they let us one. So let's go ahead for our second game. Is the same opponent, so it's actually best of 3 for the first round. So it's not that the first round is not very long, so I'm gonna show all 3 games for the first round and then 1 game from the second round because it's worthwhile to show that game because I lost in that game, and you know, it's very important to learn from your losses, to learn from your mistakes. We got a Dedenne to start with, a really bad hand. I think I switched that for a Sableye. It's better to switch that for a Galarian Zigzagoon or a Roxie Blowaway Bomb card. Koffing Weezing, because if you play a Sableye, it's actually not a good deal. They get to knock it out for 2 prize cards, you know. So if they're playing Mad Party, don't play your Sableye at all until the very end because they're gonna knock it out. It's better to just damage counter them with your Zigzagoons and your Roxie Blowaway Bomb until you knock all of their Mad Party cards. Until you run out of those cards, don't play your Sableye V. So for this game, I made the big mistake of playing 2 Sableye Vs. So all they have to do is knock out all my GX V cards for the win. Before I do damage counter, before I place enough damage counters on them for the massive knockouts. Poltergeist. So I'm checking their deck list. See, you get to check your opponent's deck list. They don't have Crushing Hammers. I'm checking their deck list. 1 Ordinary Rod, 2 Air Balloons, 3 Evolution Incense, 1 Giovanni's Exile, 4 Research, 2 Boss Order, 4 Twin Triple XL, 1 Mew, 4 Poltergeist. Mad Party does 60. So Bird Keeper, and then I haven't placed damage counters on them, so Crazy Claw is not gonna do anything. That's why I say don't play your Sableye V on the first turn. Like, that is like very silly. I should have used that Pokemon for Galarian Zigzagoon or a Weezing Koffing, because that way I get to place damage counter on them first before I do my Crazy Claw. But don't even use your Crazy Claw, like you don't even have to. It's better to just use your Weavile, because Weavile does the same thing. It does enough damage to knock out one card. You don't need Crazy Claw. You don't need to do so much damage to knock out a Mad Party card. So obviously Weavile, you need to waste a supporter card to evolve it, but it's still a better deal because it's 200 HP and all you need is to play your red and blue, but who knows. But as I said, it's better to just not play any V or GXs until the very end if you are playing against Mad Party with your Sableye V deck, because you can just place Galarian Zigzagoons and play your Roxies until you do enough damage on them, until you knock out enough Sinisties and Bunnelbees before doing your Crazy Claw or Claw Slash. Because after that, you don't have to worry much. If they don't have enough Sinisties, then they can't evolve. Then all you need to do is knock out all of their Bunnelbees, then they are done. So they knocked out our Dedenne. Now we need to place damage counter on them still. Roxie only allows us to place 1. That's very bad. And they already evolved their Sinisty, so we need to place 6 damage counters on them now. That's literally impossible. It's literally impossible now to knock out the Poltergeists with Roxie and Zigzagoon. We need to knock them out with attack. We can't use ability for knockouts anymore. So we are getting Weavile. I'm not playing good here. Like, yep, I should have gotten Zigzagoon. Yep, I did. So Zigzagoon to place damage counter on Poltergeist, and then Crazy Claw. So we started off bad. We got a Dedenne in the active spot. We got 1 Pokemon and 1 Pokemon card. Poltergeist is weak towards Dark type, by the way. So if you have a weak Dark attack, you can knock it out. But Claw Slash can't knock it out if you don't have damage counters on them, because it's only 10 base damage. Zigzagoon can knock it out though, but it's 2 energy attack cost, same thing. And you need to flip a coin for it, so Zigzagoon is virtually useless except for its ability. They're not playing Mew anymore because Mew cannot protect them from damage counters. And then this is the tricky part. What am I gonna do now? Rocky Helmet? Obviously Rocky Helmet to Sableye V if I'm gonna knock them out, because that's gonna be stuck in the active spot. It's better to put it in the Sableye V because they're probably gonna target our V card. But they only have 2 prize cards left, so I forgot to look at the prize card. Always watch the prize card, guys. So 2 prize cards left. There's no point attaching to your Sableye V now. We have a very low chance of winning at this point. So Rocky Helmet to Zigzagoon, and then save our Sableye, because we can't attack with Sableye. If we do that, they're gonna knock us out and they're gonna win. We don't even have a Roxie, so that's super bad. I think they're gonna boss order the next turn. Pretty sure they're gonna boss order. They had like 4 boss orders. Or maybe 3, I can't remember. Quick ball for no more Zigzagoons, so a Sneasel. And then pass the turn. Not attacking, because if I attack with Claw Slash, I'm done. They can knock me out with Mad Party, 170 HP, knock out easily, and then draw the last 2 prize cards for the win. T-Break. Twin Energy. Dedenne for a massive discard. Boss order and we're done. Mad Party. 260. So let's go for the third game against the same opponent, Mad Party. So if you win 2 games, you don't have to play a second round. You don't have to play a third time against the same opponent. If you lose 2 games as well, no third game. He declined my challenge, not sure why. So I think I forgot to check the time box. It's very important to check the time box when you are playing against the opponent. Yep, I just figured that out along the way. So I'm pretty new to the Limitless TCG tournament. This is my first time actually. So bear with me about the timer thing. I forgot to put a timer on for this game. Sorry about that. You start off with the Roxie, that's perfect. We got 2 Pokemon cards, 1 Pokémon Communication, 1 Quick Ball as well. So I got smarter with this game because I didn't put any Sableys anymore. No more Sableye. Until the very end, because at the very end I ran out of, you'll see later that I ran out of my blow away bomb cards. I ran out of Scoop Up Nets and Zigzagoons. So I have to attack with Sableye V at that point. If they don't play a Dedenne-GX, you can actually win the game by knocking out all their Mad Party cards. So you don't need to collect all 6 prize cards. All you need to do is knock out all 3 of the all of their Bunnelbys or Sinisties or Poltergeist with your blow away bomb, with enough Roxies and enough Zigzagoons. But they already put their Dedenne-GX in play, so we can't do that anymore. We have to collect all 6 prize cards for the win. So knocked out a Sinisty on the first turn, very good. We have to, if we are gonna win, get a Sneasel or get a Zigzagoon. It's smarter to get a Zigzagoon. No GX, no V cards. Get a Zigzagoon with my Pokemon. Scoop Up Net first. Knock out the Bunnelby, the active Bunnelby, because it has energy attached to it. Pokemon for another Zigzagoon. Come on. I'm thinking here because I already know the outcome. I already know, what I was gonna do, because this is actually a recording of the of yesterday's game. It's actually 2 days before, because I recorded it yesterday, but the recording wasn't clear enough. There was some technical issues. So I had to re-record today. So I'm checking their deck list again. 2 great catchers. They have 2 great catchers and like 3 boss orders. I'm not sure. So Great Catcher work for tag teams and for your stage 1 GXs as well. Great Catcher is very powerful. Unless they play like full V cards, full V maxes, Crobat Vs, no Dedenes, then Great Catcher is virtually useless. So it really depends on which opponent you're up against. I'm gonna use my Roxie now, I think. Roxie or Zigzagoon. I could use Zigzagoon and then Dedenne for Roxie for another Roxie, but I've already used up one Roxie, so we only have 3 left. 1 in the hand, that means 2 left in the deck. So it's actually risky if I discard my Roxie with my Dedenne. So I actually drew 6 cards by discarding the Sableye V as well. So you'll see later on that I actually regretted discarding that Sableye V because I actually need Sableye to be able to win. Because knocking out all of their Mad Party cards is actually not enough for the win, because all I got was 4 prize cards. There we go, we got 4 prize cards already. We got 2 per turn. We got 2 on our last turn, and this turn we got another 2. Scoop Up Net. So we'll Roxie on the next turn probably. I've attached a hiding on my Zigzagoon. You can't transfer that hiding with your Shadow Connection, by the way. Shadow Connection only allows you to move basic dark energies from your Pokemon to another of your Pokemon in any way you like, as often as you like. No special energies. Bronzong, you get to move special energies. You get to move Aurora as well. SWSH as well. So new cards are actually better. The new Sword and Shield cards, you get to move, for those energy transfers, you get to move special energies. Your Coating, your Aurora, your basic metal energies, you get to move them with your Bronzong metal transfer. You get to move, transfer Aurora energy to your SWSH as you move it to the active spot as well, with the Resolute Spear ability. So let's focus on this game. They're putting 2 Sinisties because they're expecting us to run out of our Roxie, Scoop Up Net, Zigzagoon cards. We've already used up 2 Roxies. That's our 3rd one in the hand. So we're using Pokemon for another Blow Away Bomb card, I think. Or a Sneasel. A Blow Away Bomb card. And we got another Koffing with a... Oh, we ran out of our Koffing. So we used a Pokemon for Koffing on our last turn, so we don't have any more Koffings in our deck. We only have 3 Koffings and 3 Weezing, so we can't use that Quick Ball for Koffing anymore. We have to attach energy now to our Zigzagoon or any other cards, because that way we get to transfer later with our Shadow Connection. So we need our Sneasel now. If we are attaching energy, we better get our Sneasel. So I'm placing my I'm putting my Sableye into play as well. You can see afterwards. The reason I put my Sableye into play is because I want to bait them to knock out my Sableye V. Because if they knock out my Sableye V, I get to save my Sneasel. And then I get to evolve on my next turn, put another Sableye V in play, and then transfer my energy to the Sableye V, to the new Sableye V, and then attack with Crazy Claw to knock out the Dedenne-GX. So I'm already planning for my next hit. But if they knock out my Sableye V though, I only have 1 left in the deck. That's actually pretty risky, because it could actually be in our prize card. Because we already discarded our Sableye V. We only have 3 Sableys in this deck. So it's actually playing a lot on risk. If they don't knock out any of those cards though, they probably are, because they have a lot of Boss's Order. They don't have... Great Catcher doesn't work for Sableye V, but they have a lot of Boss's Order. So if they play Boss Order and knock out our Sableye V, we are actually relying on luck for that last Sableye V to be in our deck and to draw it on our next turn so that we get to attack. So that we get to knock out the Dedenne-GX on this turn. Because otherwise we are gonna have to delay a few turns before we get to draw our last 2 prize cards. But they do have 3 prize cards left, so we are still ahead in the game. So I'm scooping up my Zigzagoon for another damage counter. On a Sinistea, because all we need is 1 more to knock out the Sinistea, but I don't think I can do it on this turn anymore, because I plan on knocking out the Dedenne-GX, so I'm gonna use Boss Order instead of Roxie. If I use Roxie though, I could knock out the Sinistea and then use Crazy Claw, but I can't use Crazy Claw, so I can only attack with the Zigzagoon, and you need to flip a coin for Zigzagoon, so it's actually not a good deal. It's even worse to rely on your coin flip than to rely on a Sableye V turning up on your hand. So for this turn, all I need is a Weavile and a Sableye V. So Weavile allows me to transfer my energy cards. Sableye V allows me to attack with Crazy Claw for the win, because we already have a Boss Order at hand and a Dedenne as well. So few that was close, because that was our last Sableye V. So we get to do 240 damage, 250 to that Dedenne-GX, adding up to a total of 290, enough to knock out a tag team already without a big charm. 250. And we won the game, the 3rd game. So we won 2 out of 3. So we won against Mind Mass. Our first round we won. So let's go ahead for this is our 3rd round, by the way. So I'm showing this as the 2nd game because I forgot to record my 2nd round for the tournament. So for the 2nd round, it was up against Urshifu VMAX Rapid Strike. So I lost that game because my opponent used the Gale Thrust way too fast. So as I said earlier, they used Gale Thrust and they add those 2 damage counters with their Galarian Zigzagoon, and I actually got a bit trouble with that to start with. Sorry about that. I'll just skip to that front because we actually had a bit of a trouble accepting the challenge, because I forgot to check the time box and he wouldn't accept my challenge. So I thought there was something wrong with, But anyways, I lost the game because they used Gale Thrust, 150 damage, plus 2 damage counters with Galarian Zigzagoon and Scoop Up Net. So they knocked out my Sableye V before I could do anything, before I could knock them out, before I could damage them with my Crazy Claw. So that's how fast the Rapid Strike, Rapid Strike formation, that's how fast they are. So they already put their Battle Goggles. I'm already sweating here because Metal Goggles completely crushes a Sableye V deck. Sableye V is not prepared for Metal Goggles. That is why it's important for a Sableye V to have, for any Sableye V decks, to have Tool Scrappers or Tool Jammers. Tool Scrapper is better because that way you get to target bench Pokemons as well. Tool Jammer only shuts off the active Pokemons, your opponent's active Pokemon's tool cards. So the tool cards on their bench Pokemons still work. So I'm trying to get out my Weavile because the only way I can attack is with Weavile. Crazy Claw does 0 damage. Zigzagoon Roxie does 0 damage. Nothing can attack unless I Tool Scrapper. So that's why this deck is subpar if you're up against the meta format, because it needs way too many things. You need your damage counter cards, You need a way to charge your Sableye with 2 energies fast before they crushing hammer you. You also need your what do you call that, tool scrappers and chaotic swells, because if they play power plant, you can't play Dedenne-GX. If you are playing a Weavile-GX, you need chaotic swell, because now they have played a power plant. Now I can't use my shadow connection, but there's no point using shadow connection anyways, because I can't do anything with my Crazy Claw. Crazy Claw is completely shut down unless I damage them with my Claw Slash first. So shadow connection actually helps later on in the game after my Claw Slash. But I can't even retreat now, because Sableye V 2 retreat cost, so it's like really bad for me. Pokédoll. Pokédoll is like the most annoying card. People love to play Pokédolls because it gives them a free switch, and it also forces you to waste your boss order card. It's actually a very smart strategy, but I get very annoyed because I always lose when they use a Pokédoll, especially when they play strong cards like Zacian or all of those tag team cards. So I'm playing another Weavile because, as I said, that's the only card I can attack with. They knocked out my Sableye already. They can't attack with Zacian, but they can use Full Metal Wall and discard all of my energy cards. So Weavile-GX has no energy to attack on my next turn, and I have no supporter cards at hand. I am completely destroyed at this point. I'm pretty sure they use a air balloon, so they don't even need to waste their energy cards. Oh, they have a metal goggles, my bad, so they can't use air balloon unless they tool scrapper. So they use Mellow and Lana for the heal and the switch, and then Pokédoll for another Brave Blade. They don't even need to use Full Metal Wall, so they Brave Blade, Brave Blade, and Brave Blade. I put a sad face. Rocky Helmet, Nocturnal Maneuvers. That's the only GX attack you can use for this deck. I even I placed a Dedenne just for the heck of it. I put a Dedenne on my bench just for the heck of it. So double switch for another Brave Blade. Triple Brave Blade. So they asked me if I want to go first or second. I forgot to. I took quite a long time to reply because I typed on the other chat. I typed on the other chat for the other forum, and he didn't read the other forum, I think. And so the first one was a loss, the second one was a loss as well. So I'm not going to show the second game because it's basically the same thing as the first one, except they got their metal goggles a bit later. So all they need is a Guzma and Hala to get out their coating energy, power plant, and metal goggles, attach a lot of metal goggles onto their Pokemon, and that's it, we're done. Because this deck is completely allergic to power plant and metal goggles. Power plant destroys our Weavile-GX shadow connection and our DD change, which is the main way, ability for this deck, and it also shuts off metal goggles. Shuts off our Galarian Zigzagoon blow away bomb abilities. We can't place damage counters on them. That means we can't do a lot of damage with our Crazy Claws. that means Sableye V is useless unless we attack with Weavile first. That is a very bad deal. We have to attack with Claw Slash first before we do damage with our Crazy Claws. So if they have a power plant, Metal Goggles, golden rule is to play golden rule is to play Chaotic Swells, Tool Scrappers, and Tool Jammers. So it's better to have Tool Scrapper, Tool Jammer in this deck. To fit in those cards, I recommend to switch your Rocky Helmets for Tool Scrappers, Tool Jammers, and Chaotic Swell or Marshadow. Or Black Market even, because Black Market is a stadium card, you get to kick out any power plant as well. But to add those cards, you're gonna have to make this deck even more tighter, because obviously 3 is not enough. 3 is not enough, you need at least like 5, because you need 2 Tool Scrappers, 2 stadium cards, and or a Marshadow, 2 stadium cards or Marshadow in any combination, and 1 more card like Guzma and Hala to summon those tool cards or stadium cards. So you need like at least 5 to be able to make this deck to be able to protect this deck from those cards, to protect yourself from your Metal Goggles, from those power plants as well. So that's how weak this deck is at the moment. Not only do you have to get your way around the 2 energy attack cost, it is not 1 dark, 1 colorless, it is 2 dark energies. That is how difficult it is. So you're gonna have to find a way to charge it with 2 energies on your turn, either with a Turbo Patch or with a BD or something, or attached to your XU and then Nanu or something like that. I've done that for another video. You can check in the link. You can check in the link in the description below. So for another video, I used an XU with the Unnerve ability, so they can't Crushing Hammer, they can't use Team Yell, they can't Boss Order my XU, knock it out. If you have an XU, it's better to have a Mew as well, because that way you get to protect it from damage, but you don't get to protect it from damage counters though. So if they have a Dragapult VMAX, they can knock out your XU with 2 hits. But you know, by the second hit you can do your Nanu already. Before they do their second hit, you can already use your Nanu to switch your XU for Sableye V and then attach an extra energy and you're good to go. So that's an alternative way to charge up your Crazy Claw for a Crazy Claw attack. But for this deck, we are using our Weavile Red and Blue strategy instead. So Weavile Red and Blue allows you to attach 2 energy cards to your Weavile and then Shadow Connection to your Sableye V, and then you're good to go for Crazy Claw. So another main difficulty you have to get around for this card is to place damage counters on their active Pokemon before doing damage with your Crazy Claw. How do you boost its damage? That is the main difficulty. So we are trying to do that with our Galarian Zigzagoon and our Roxie Blow-Away Bomb the standard way. You can also do it with like special conditions, poisoning, burning them, and then wait till they are damaged enough before you do your damage with your Crazy Claw. But that's gonna have to waste, you're gonna have to waste a few turns to do that, because special conditions, you only get to place damage counters on them for special conditions between turns. So you're gonna have to waste turns for that. So ability is usually the best way to go if you want to damage them before you do your Crazy Claw as fast as you can within the first or second turn. Then abilities is the way to go. But if they have a Stealthy Hood, if they have a Metal Goggles, your ability is completely destroyed. If you Galarian Zigzagoon as well, sorry, Galarian Weezing also shuts down your abilities. So those cards are completely destroys this deck. It will be very bad if they play Metal Goggles, if they play Galarian Weezing. This deck is completely allergic to those cards. So that's all. I don't want to go on too long. This deck is for me, I don't quite like this deck because it's not that good yet. Sableye V is not a powerful card. It's very powerful, but there's way too many challenges. Like, you need to do way too many things to make this card work, to protect it from all those meta decks, to make it strong against a lot of meta decks. Fire decks as well, you need Cape of Toughness, otherwise it gets knocked out very easily. And they draw 2 prize cards because you don't have a Black Market. And Black Market, they can kick it out easily with a Giant Hearth. Fire decks play a lot of Giant Hearth, so Sableye V against Fire decks is super bad. Against Metal Goggles, against, like, it has way too many weaknesses. That's what I'm trying to say. So for the moment, this is the best that I can do for a Sableye V deck. Until the next expansion comes, this is the best that I can do. So hope you guys like this deck. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. If you find our videos interesting, entertaining, or fulfilling in any way, We'll see you in the next video. Have a nice day and keep playing, keep perfecting your strategy, keep practicing on the versus ladder and have fun with the game. This game is about having fun and growing in your own way. Finding your own style and, you know, chilling. So we'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!